This is a video I've been meaning to make for ages. A few people asked me where to find toilets in Japan. Now, if you've been there, you'll know the situation, but if you haven't, it can be a concern, especially when you're out and about all day, drinking all that delicious Fanta grape and coffee in a can. So to help you out, I was that strange foreigner filming the toilets, obviously when no one else was around, to show you where to find them and what they're like. I'll also include some Japanese phrases if you need to ask where the toilets are, how washlets work, what's the deal with squat toilets, and the fanciest toilets in Tokyo. And as always, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. The good news is finding toilets when you're out and about in Japan is really easy. I've never had a problem. Here are a few places you can always find them. First up is train stations and metro stations, which are everywhere, especially in Tokyo. You're never far away from one, and there are signs to help you find the bathrooms. I find this the easiest and most reliable option because you're taking the train so much to get around, you don't have to go too far out of your way to go to them. Shopping malls always have bathrooms. Some larger shops like Yodobashi Camera, larger games arcades, and department stores, which often tend to be around stations. Obviously they are supposed to be for customers, so have a browse while you're there. If you're at a tourist attraction or a restaurant, obviously you can use the bathrooms while you're there. Convenience stores usually have bathrooms. They are for customers, so just pick up a drink or a snack. Sometimes they're blocked off, especially in busy areas, I guess because people go in just to use them. So I tend not to rely on them, but convenience stores are everywhere. You can often find public toilets in larger parks, and I've seen them by the seaside. Long distance trains in the Shinkansen always have bathrooms on board, and they are so much cleaner and nicer than toilets on trains in the UK. So basically, it's never a problem. And the great news is they're always free. At least I've never seen one you have to pay for. The signs pointing you to the bathrooms will be as you'd expect, with the little symbols with the people on them. You don't have to know any Japanese words. Often they're in English as well, or they have the recognisable symbols. It's blue for men and red for women. If you can't find them, you can ask where the toilets are by saying "Toire wa doko desu ka?" or just "Toire wa doko?" Toire wa doko? As I'm sure you've heard, Japanese toilets are super high tech. It's called a washlet. Most places have them with all the buttons, bidet functions, an automatic lid, and a heated seat. Oh, hello. I'm pretty sure every hotel I've stayed in Japan has a washlet, and they're everywhere when you're out and about as well. So get ready to fall in love with Japanese toilets. The buttons will either be by the side of the seat or on a panel on the wall. Sometimes they'll have English, often not, and they do sometimes have symbols on them. The functions do vary according to the model. Usually there'll be a sprayer for the front for the ladies and for the back. You can adjust the temperature and sometimes the pressure as well, and there'll be a stop button. These hiragana say oshiri, which means bottom. I think you can guess what it is from the symbol. Some also have sound effects of birds or rushing water, so you don't have to feel self-conscious. The flush will either be a button or a lever. Sometimes it has two kanji on it. One is for big flush and one's for small flush. The way I remember it is the kanji for big looks like someone with their arms spread out wide. Bathrooms are usually really clean. Cleanliness is important in Japanese culture, so the standard's usually really good. Obviously, there are some exceptions, and in particular, I've found that squat toilets are often not as fresh. There'll be more about them in a minute. And I've checked this with Phil. In the men's, there are urinals and stalls, just like you'd expect. There'll always be sinks to wash your hands, but what surprises me is how high-tech the washlet is and how basic everything else can be sometimes. Some bathrooms are luxurious and fantastic with all the facilities, and at others you don't always get hot water to wash your hands. Sometimes it's cold water only, and you don't always get soap. There aren't always hand dryers or paper towels to dry your hands. I think that's because in Japan it's normal to carry a small towel with you. It's part of the cleanliness thing. It's thought to be more hygienic to have your own personal towel. You can buy small towels at many places. They can make a nice souvenir. The more traditional ones are called tenugui, and places that sell cute merch often have them, even the convenience store. I've got this one from Sumiko Garashi. there's Studio Ghibli, and this one's from my favourite shop, B-Side Label. So you could buy one and take it around with you. I've never really bothered because it is just another thing to carry around, but they do make a nice souvenir. Also, if you're going somewhere with a free foot bath, you should take one with you because they don't usually provide towels. What I do carry with me is antibacterial hand gel, which I always take with me when I'm travelling anywhere, because the last thing you want is to get ill and not be able to enjoy the trip you've been looking forward to. The other thing that's quite basic about Japanese bathrooms is the toilet paper. Again, luxurious washlet, basic toilet paper. Usually it's single ply, just one sheet thick, not quilted, not scented, just basic single ply. It's nothing to worry about. It does the job. It's not like that tracing paper toilet paper, but it's not luxurious. I think it's because of the bidet functions on the washlet, the paper becomes less important. Having said that bathrooms are basic, that's not always the case. Sometimes there'll be a little area with extra mirrors and lights in the ladies for doing your makeup, usually somewhere fancier like a department store. And sometimes inside the stall there's a little platform that folds down for if you need to change your clothes, so you can stand on the platform instead of the floor because the floor is seen as dirty. To be fair, in the UK it often is. You might come across a squat toilet. They are fairly rare, especially in the city. I have seen them in some public toilets in parks and in less urban areas. Usually there'll be a choice of squat toilet or Western style toilet with a little symbol on the door of the cubicle, so you can avoid them if you want to. It's nothing to worry about. To use them, you put one foot on either side and you squat facing the hood. It's like a mini workout for your quads. Now, you may have heard of the Tokyo Toilet Project, which is a series of public toilets around Tokyo with really unusual architecture. The most famous ones have see-through walls that go opaque when you lock them. There are actually 17 of them and they're all different around Shibuya. You can find them on tokyotoilet.jp. And if you're really into washlets, you can visit the Toto Museum in Kitakyushu, which is really quick to get to from Fukuoka. Toto is the company that makes pretty much all the washlets, and their museum is free. So I hope that puts your mind at rest about toilets in Japan. It's just one less thing to worry about for your Japan trip. And I hope all that filming in the toilets was worth it. I'll see you next week with more Japan videos on Thursday. Bye bye.